This is my game, but it sucks. There's nothing to do, just a tiny little area that you can walk around and...
Why don't you just finish the entire area?
Yeah, that's what I was gonna
Why
do.
don't you?
Donny, you always state the obvious, bro.
Mehlted is a bit busy right now, so I guess it's up to me to show you how we finished the first area of our game. Before I tell you how we did it, let me explain what this game is. The Burrow is a bullet hell Metroidvania about a fly who is trapped in a giant spider's burrow. It's basically Enter the Gungeon and Hollow Knight combined, and it's super ambitious. The first area of the game is the Mound, a pile of scrap, dead bugs and dirt which culminates into one massive pile. The plan for this area was to make it a really aesthetically interesting and fun place for the player to learn the game's basic mechanics. So to fully create the area we were going to need a whole lot of art. And usually this is the part where Mehlted would hand it to me, but I'm already here, so this is how I spent my time making the art. The whole of the mound is really quite large, with a lot of little subsections. I needed to create lots of different floors and walls to match these places. I got bored of the floor real quick and moved on to my passion, drawing these rocks. They connect if that makes it any more interesting. Yeah, that's really everything I did that was interesting. So... hopefully Mehlted will get here.
What's up guys, it's Lego Mehlted. We had to change over to me because Mehlted is currently, well, you don't want to know. Anyway, I've never done this before, so is there a script or something I read off of? Oh, okay. Now we have heaps of art, but it needs to be placed in the scene to actually look good, and that's where I come in. I spent a very long time just selecting where each segment went, lining it up, copying it, getting another layer, putting it behind the previous layer, lining it up again. And watching me do all this in real time would be really boring, so let me show you this super cool montage of me doing it all. Alright, it's finally finished, but it still looks terrible. Something was really off. I spent way too long messing around with the background, trying to change the angles of small details, and then... Huh, I think she's right. So I added some lights, and it made an insane difference. But I couldn't just place the lights wherever I wanted. Light in games needs to tell the player something. Most games use light to highlight the most important areas, direct the player, or set the mood. So I decided to look into how games actually do this. In Subnautica, lighting plays a huge role in telling the player about danger, and making the environment feel mysterious. While I was playing, I noticed that I felt a lot safer in areas that were fully lit, where I could see at least 20 meters in front of me. Then as I went closer to these darker, hazier areas, I started to get a bit more worried. Go away, go away, go away, go away. What the? So I tried to use Subnautica's method in my own game. I made the more mysterious area lit ambiently. In safer areas, I lit up the scene a bit more, giving the player a chance to see their surroundings. Alright, I'm finally back. Where were we? Oh yeah, this was cool and all, but the mound needed some characters. Me and Porger had brainstormed a ton of ideas for some NPCs that would be fun to add. We settled on this guy, Billow.
Billow's a cruel fisherman who lives in his own little cave, hidden behind this locked door, quiet and undisturbed until you come along.
And he's a shopkeeper, but if you're an OG, you would know that I already made all the code for shops, so there's nothing to worry about. Oh my god, that looks terrible. So I spent a while making a prototype shop while Porger worked on making the art for Billow himself. I made a grid layout for all the items to show in and allowed the player to scroll through it. Now however many items the shopkeeper sells, the grid will resize. After I got that working, I snatched the art off Porger and put it into the game. I added this little interaction icon and then polished the area around him. But Billow was only our first NPC and we wanted many more. Luckily now that I'd made all the code for it, it meant that we just had to make the art and animations for the next few characters we wanted and then add it all together. And you just watched us make Ills. He's a recurring NPC that will follow you on your journey. I also think this is a good time to mention the dialogue system. Me and Porger wanted the player to have a bit more of input and conversations, like in Undertale, and different to Hollow Knight. So Porger wrote the player a list of replies they can give to whoever they are talking to. This system is extremely confusing, so I won't talk about it for much longer, but let's go check up on Porger and Donny.
Damn it. Hey Porger, look at this.
What's wrong with it?
How is there just light coming out of the ground?
Yeah, I guess that is kind of weird. Maybe
Maybe you should make an object that projects the light so it doesn't look out of place.
like a lantern or something?
Nah, that's boring. Make it a mushroom. And while on the topic of mushrooms, why is there no foliage anywhere? Doesn't feel right.
Okay, sure, I'll draw some mushrooms and some plants.
3 hours later.
So how does this look?
Perfect.
I finally got around to finishing the settings menu recently, and I think it looks pretty awesome. So as you can see, you can still scroll through the rounds of the revolver to go to different sections of the menu, and even more exciting, you can actually access these sections now. So hopefully by the time the game's available for you all to play, you can change your controls and graphics preferences. I'm so lost. I really wish I knew more about coding. Well, it's a good thing this video is sponsored by Brilliant. Huh? What's Brilliant? Brilliant is an awesome educational app that makes learning fun and interesting. Each lesson is filled with hands-on problem solving, much more exciting than those boring lecture videos. Whoa, that's actually pretty cool, but why should I use it? Well, Brilliant offers heaps of different lesson types, like math, science, and something I think you'll be interested in, programming. No way you guys have programming. Yep. Our programming courses are the perfect way to build a foundation in coding and learn how to think like a developer. In this course, you get to design and debug real programs, as well as getting familiar with Python and building programs from day one. Brilliant helps you develop a learning habit by giving you daily tasks to complete. It's the perfect app to keep you away from mindless scrolling. I need this right now. How do I get it? To try everything Brilliant has to offer for free for a full 30 days, visit brilliant.org/mehlted or scan the QR code on screen, or you can click on the link in the description. You'll also get 20% off an annual premium subscription. That is so cool.
Mehlted, have you seen this awesome app? I just found it.
Donny, what did you just do? You just killed him. I'm fine.
Oh, whoops. Guess you should just get back to working on the game again.
Damn, I guess you're right. Next, I think we should talk about saving systems in my game. In most Metroidvanias, there's usually an item which is known for being the checkpoint. For instance, in Hollow Knight, it's these benches, and in Ori and the Will of the Wisps, it's these fountains. So we needed a pretty cool one for our game. We decided a hammock would be a pretty nice place for our fly to rest. Porger drew up this hammock, then I imported it into the game. Finally, I added some simple UI so you could teleport to other hammocks. And then I went to make the entire rest of the game.
The mound is kinda big, and up to this point we've only really finished the right side of it, but luckily that was the biggest, so we haven't got much left. This is the center of the mound, and the actual mound part's big, hence the name. This is where you first drop down, and we wanted to capture a feeling of awe in the first initial moments of the game, so the parallaxing goes quite far back. As well as that, we have this beautiful rain falling down. This is because you, the fly, have fallen into this burrow in the first place to escape a dreadful snowstorm on the surface, and we figured if the snow is going to travel down this far, it'll probably turn into water due to how far it falls. And here's the last section of the mound, the cross into the cavern. No spoilers or anything, of course. As the name suggests, this part of the mound is a transitional area to the cavern, and not only houses the tutorial, but probably the first NPCs and enemies you'll meet, and maybe even the first boss. And finally, this is a raider camp where you'll fight heaps of enemies and... Mehlted? What are you doing sleeping here?
Oh, the bed just looked really comfy.
Buddy, it says here in the script you're supposed to talk about the items we added now.
Okay, sorry, I'll do it now. Alright, so items. They're just great, aren't they? So Porger drew a heap of these thingers, and basically what they do is give the player certain buffs and effects that drastically change gameplay. For example, the inflamed pill increases your damage by 10% for 30 seconds. And you may be thinking, Mehlted, that doesn't sound that bad. Well, you're wrong. For some reason, I made sure to spend ages perfecting the little intricacies of these items, but eventually I finished getting these to work, and I will admit it is really fun to fight the one singular enemy after taking all of these effects, like giving me an extra 50% damage, more defense, healing myself, and just one-shotting this poor little guy. Yeah, maybe next video I should do something about enemies. So, this month, we managed to finish off the first area of our game, but it only scratches the surface of what we plan to achieve this year. Me and Porger are going to keep working our hardest to improve the game as much as we can. Add heaps more content and...
Hey, Mehlted, where did you go the other day? You just disappeared randomly. I couldn't find you or Donny anywhere in the house.
I don't know what you're talking about, but I do have something I've been meaning to tell you.
What?
I don't remember anything before yesterday. I don't know why or how I'm here. I just don't know.
Wait, what?
Porger, something very bad is happening.